day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines.
Now boarding.
Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Just got new tires put on my car today.
You did? I didn't see you leave the office.
I didn't need to. Graham Tire picked up my car this morning and dropped it back off and they were done.
You're kidding. How'd you get that kind of service?
That's just what they do at Graham Tire.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards just south of 48th and Holdridge.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
Tune in to Outside the Box from 4 to 5 p.m. for everything you need to know about the Lincoln Stars. Join head coach Rocky Russo and play-by-play voice Alex Fern as they sit down with special player guests to tell the story of the Lincoln Stars and give you all the news and notes you need from around the USHL. That's Outside the Box with the Lincoln Stars on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln. This is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Hour one of Old School is sponsored by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. Welcome in. It is Old School, 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Lost Norman back. Made it back. Little life stuff going on yesterday, but here we are talking some college hoops, talking some Major League Baseball, some college baseball, and plenty more. Whatever's on your mind, send it our way. 402-464-5685. I just got chewed out by Nick Sainer for not understanding that he was still around. Kind of thought he'd be gone by now. But that's all right. The invitation was already sent out to Nick Wyman to join me for this hour of Old School. Nick W., how are you?
I was here yesterday from 3 to 6 with Jay Foreman. We held down the bunker while you were out of action, but I guess subbed in out of the bullpen, pinch hit, whatever you want to call it, and it worked. And I guess those 3 hours were so good. I'm back here for one more hour today. I guess so.
Indeed. Eric, where's part-time Jay Foreman? You know that it's Tuesday, so you know Jay's not going to be here. You gave him credit for being full-time yesterday, so let's not switch up on
less than 24 hours. You gave him credit for being back and being here present on a Monday, and less than 24 hours. They're already giving him a hard time. Man,
make up your mind.
Well,
it's just Eric. We know that this is how Eric operates, but that's all right. As we said, 402-464-5685 if you want to be a part of the show. A big thank you to the good folks over at Graham Tire Company. 4 Lincoln locations. They got all sorts of great stuff going on. They're celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. More than just tires, they do all kinds of car and light truck repairs too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. Graham Tire, getting you to the places that matter most. All right, we'll talk some Nebraska, Maryland coming up here in this hour. That'll be next. We'll hear from Nebraska head coach Fred Hoiberg, but we've had some absolute bangers of games recently in college basketball. Saturday was obviously a tremendous day between Duke, Michigan, and Arizona, Houston. Then you get Houston and Kansas last night as well. And so, Nick, that just had me thinking in this kind of wild world of college basketball where it's still hard for me to say that there is a betting favorite, especially with Michigan having lost twice now. How is it that you defeat the top 10 teams in college basketball? What is their Achilles heel, right? We've talked about that with Nebraska, right? Length, athleticism on the perimeter, forcing them into a bad shooting day, some careless turnovers from Nebraska and getting after them on the glass. Of course, Nebraska comes in number 10 in the coaches poll, number 12 in the AP poll. But we've spent a lot of time on Nebraska's issues. And I think part of the purpose of this segment is to look across the country and show people that, hey, guess what? Nebraska is not the only team with some things that it's working through. And we'll start with the current number 1 right now, the Duke Blue Devils, right? They get 56 of the 61 first place votes to take over number 1 in the regular season for, believe it or not, the first time in the John Shire era.
It's just in the regular think about it. You think Duke, at some point, you'd have to, maybe 1 week you were 1 seed and then maybe you lost and then slipped up maybe to a 3 or 4. But no, the first time in John Shire's tenure, which has been a while now.
Even last year, right? That incredible group of 4 teams in KenPom, Duke was number 2. I don't think they ever made number 1. So how do you beat Duke? Number 1, it's get Patrick Gungba into foul trouble, go at Cam Boozer, an isolation defense. The other thing we've seen, Nick, and John Shire pushed back on this after beating Michigan, is, it's been a little difficult for Duke to close games in Shire's tenure, especially the last couple of years, right? You think about the shortcomings in the Champions Classic against Clemson and then against Houston in the Final Four, even to some degree letting Arizona back into that game in the Sweet 16 a year ago. And then this year, Duke's up 12 on Texas Tech in the second half. Red Raiders come back. Duke leads at halftime, pushes the lead, I think, to double digits against North Carolina. Tar Heels storm back and win it at the buzzer in Chapel Hill. Hard for me to want to bank on a comeback if I'm a Duke opponent, but that's why, to me, I think really the biggest key to beat Duke is either go at Cam Boozer, one-on-one on defense. He's solid, he's sturdy, he can hold up, but not exactly a lockdown guy. Or what did Carolina do? They got Pat Gungba in foul trouble, right? That's Duke's best backline defender. This is a Duke team that's, been in the top 4 in KenPom pretty much all year. They've rated out pretty darn well analytically, but, they've given up those 2 comebacks and they've struggled at sometimes when their mid-post anchor and Pat Gungba's on the bench.
They're also a team where Cam Boozer's the guy, 22.6 points per game. It's a little different than what you see at Nebraska, where you have a couple of different guys who could lead the way. He is going to lead them in scoring, 7 games out of a 7-day stretch. And with Duke, since that North Carolina game, talked about the closing games. That was a game where they led every second besides the last, 0.8 seconds when Seth Trimble hit that shot in the corner, finishing games. And we've seen that since that loss, beat Pitt, handled business, beating Clemson, dominating Syracuse. And then this weekend, neutral site, we talked about it on Saturday a little bit, a random non-conference game in February, beating Michigan, who was people's favorites. People said, hey, this team hasn't lost. They've only lost to Wisconsin in that one game where Wisconsin hit 15 threes. No, Duke was able to limit them, hold a 68-63 advantage to win there. And now they have Notre Dame and Virginia to close out regular season play before the ACC tournament goes. So I was shocked to hear that was the John Shire team's never been number one, because Duke, I feel like, always kind of hovering around that 1 through 5 range. But yeah, it's Cam Boozer. If he's cold, you need other guys. So Isaiah Evans is there, but it's a team where Cam Boozer can carry him. Compared to last year's team with Cooper Flagg, everybody, is this team better? I'm not too sure
different.
Yet. It's different. It's very different.
That's all I'll say for now. It's different.
Yes.
Cam Boozer and his brother Caden, the winningest players in high school history, really, by a lot of metrics. They won Peach Jam, they won national championships, all that sort of thing. And I think I've shared this on air before, but there's a lot pointing Duke's way as to why the Blue Devils will win the national championship, and it has so little to do with basketball. But we'll get into that as we continue to march toward and into March. Let's keep running down the list of these top 10 teams. Arizona comes in at number 2. They get the other 5 first-place votes. Wildcats have only lost twice this season. And the strength for Arizona is the front court. Obviously, Koa Pete has been sidelined with an injury. You have Krivas, who's really good defensively. Karchanov is really coming on for them. Tobe Alaka has played a role for them for a couple of years now. But for me, when it comes to Arizona, you got to win with your backcourt, right? That front court is so deep. It's so talented. And part of winning with your backcourt is not letting Jaden Bradley score. Jaden Bradley has been an incredible transfer for the Wildcats, but in their 2 losses, he's gone 2 of 8 and 4 of 14. That's a guy that can take over in those big moments, but if you can limit him, Braden Burries is kind of hit or miss for them on the perimeter. And so I think if you're looking to beat Arizona, it's limiting Jaden Bradley as the head of the snake. And then, the front court outside of Pete won't create much for itself.
They're also a team. I mean, they were one of the last 3-4 unbeaten teams and undefeated. They finally picked up some losses in the last couple weeks, losing to Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse. Obviously a tough place to play in general, depending on, unless you're Cincinnati, I guess, which Cincinnati beat Kansas, but we'll get into Kansas here in a bit and whatnot. But
we will not. They're not in the top 10.
Well, they also,
they'll feature.
They're one of the weirdest teams in college basketball. I was out on them, and they have this run where they're winning games. Darren Peterson's story in itself, and then they can lose to Cincinnati and then come back the next day and beat a team like Houston and whatnot. It's such a weird team, but they're one of those like honorable mentions, I would say, in the top. So there's the Kansas segment for Rock Chalk Nation. But Arizona, undefeated, lose a game to Kansas, and then they just they've been battle tested down the stretch. I think that's what the best case scenario for them is they're playing the top teams in the Big 12 outside of Baylor down the stretch. So then you're going into Big 12 conference play. You're probably going to play a lot of similar teams, and then you're going right into the big dance. And Arizona's going to be battle tested at the right time because they're not just playing the bottom tier teams in their league.
Right.
And then you're going to go into March Madness a little sluggish. No, they are playing the best of the best on a nightly basis, regular season to conference play into the big dance.
The impetus for this segment really, though, was Michigan, the number 3 team this week with a 25-2 record, which, with Duke, Arizona, Michigan all sitting there. Gonzaga's up at 27-2 as well. You have a 25-3 UConn team we'll touch on in a minute. That's kind of the high water mark, sans Miami of Ohio. The reason it came up for me with Michigan in this segment was the conversation going into that Duke game was, well, like what Wisconsin did. You got to rain threes. That's the best front court in the nation. They're going to win the rebounding battle. You have to find a way to keep them out of transition, and that's going to be really hard to do. But I think what Duke proved is there's more than one way to beat Michigan. A team that looked pretty invincible for a good chunk of the year. Number one, you do what Wisconsin did. You hit your threes. You hit 8 in a row. You make 15 of them. And Nebraska certainly had that working in the first half up in Ann Arbor. But the other way that you can make Michigan look mortal or at least manageable is to play Adai Mara off the court. About a 13% block rate. He's blocking 1 in every about 7 shots, give or take. That's a lot. That's insane. He's a 7'4" paint anchor that can actually operate somewhat credibly against wings and guards on the perimeter. And that's what Duke did. They got him in early foul trouble, played him off the court. They led at halftime. And Michigan's still good without him, right? I mean, they have a guy like Morez Johnson Jr. who can slide over. Axel Lendeberg's one of the best players in the country. I still don't really trust that Michigan backcourt. It's grown up a little bit. And Burnett, Cadeau, McKinney's fine as well. But to me, the biggest key, Nick, to beat Michigan is get Adai Mara off the court. That's something Nebraska couldn't necessarily do. And I know at times Michigan, matched Nebraska by going a little bit smaller, but he was still an option. He was still available for them. Duke made Michigan take Adai Mara off the floor and ended up winning those minutes. And that was big. Nebraska didn't have the guys to go into Mara's chest and draw fouls. That's what Duke did, opened up their halftime lead.
Yeah, and you get a guy like that off the court. I mean, that opens stuff up right at the rim, and that is what Duke did. And Michigan's they are a good team, but they've had some weird stretches this year. Penn State, they play them. Nebraska saw them on Saturday. They only beat them by 2 back in January. And then the last couple weeks, they have this Duke game, obviously, which was built up as this could be a March preview or whatnot. But then they played Purdue before 91-80. It wasn't as close as the final score says. And a team like Purdue, who's having a solid season as well. Michigan handled business against Purdue, another tall team and whatnot. But then they go days later and lose to a team like Duke, who a little bit more undersized them, get Mara in foul trouble and able to open stuff up at the rim for Boozer and whatnot. And then against Northwestern, you can go back a couple more weeks. Northwestern had a double-digit lead on this Michigan team on the road. And they're kind of a wild card when March comes around, because you see a team like that, like, which Michigan are you going to get when you get to, play? If they're a 1 seed, if they're playing an 8-9, and then an 8-9 seed's hot, what Michigan are you going to get?
There's a game I really want to see that I mentioned to you, and we'll get to it here in just a minute. Before we do that, though, our number 4 team in the country right now, Iowa State. I found really 2 keys to beating Iowa State. The Cyclones are 23-4 on the season. Number 1, get after them on the offensive glass. In all 4 of Iowa State's losses, opponents have had a higher offensive rebound percentage. Okay, not a huge Iowa State team, big enough, good enough, certainly good defensively, but you can get after them on the offensive glass a little bit. The other thing that was a common theme in 3 of the 4 losses was limiting Milan Momcilovic, a guy that was high school teammates with former Husker Nick Janowski, one of the best shooters in the country, 6'8", shooting 50-ish% from 3. He was over 50% for a while. It's cooled off a little bit. Really, Cincinnati is the only team to beat Iowa State when Milan Momcilovic goes off. Sure, he scored in double digits in the other losses, but teams have made his life tough. I like Joshua Jefferson. I think he's still growing into being a number 1 option. Taman Lipsey and Killian Touré are fun guards. I like them. They're just not a Curtis Jones, maybe like Iowa State had last year. And so if you can get after Iowa State and have a wing guy that can limit Milan Momcilovic, to me, that goes a long way in beating Iowa State.
And they're also a wild card team too. We talked about Nebraska losing to Iowa as some people mentioned it wasn't a good loss. There, nobody wants to lose a game in college basketball. But they lose to TCU on the road in a kind of a similar game to that Iowa game, 62-55. Iowa State loses, and that one go to the weekend. They beat Kansas, and Kansas at the time was top 10. Then 2 days later, they play number 2 Houston and beat them in a crazy game, one of the better regular season games you'll see all year. And then this past weekend, they lose to BYU in Utah. They lose that game by 10. And they're kind of on that same trend of at the end of the year. They'll play Utah, who's 10-17 tonight at 8:00, which hopefully, if you're a Nebraska fan, you probably want them to slip up and maybe help your resume or whatnot, or if you were trying to not see them be a 1 seed. And then they'll close out the regular season against Texas Tech, a team that doesn't have JT Top anymore. So they have a interesting month of February, which we're getting to all these teams, but all these teams have some kind of there's flaws in every game. Nobody's perfect, and in college basketball, it's almost impossible to do. I mean, there's Miami, Ohio right now, but their situation, they are in a conference that is the MAC. It's not a strong conference, but they're winning, and I don't think you can punish them for that. But they're not obviously a top 10 team just because of the strength of schedule.
The number 5 team in the country is the one that I really want to see face Michigan. And that's Houston. Wet Blanket says Michigan dropped a game versus Duke, but let's not act like Michigan is inconsistent. Half of their wins this season are by more than 20 points with 10 30-point victories. Yeah, Michigan has been really good. They were really good early on, especially against great competition. And I think, you can see what you want to see with the Wolverines, who are still, probably a top 10 defense of all time on Ken Pom, at least anecdotally. We'll find out where they settle. But Michigan also doesn't shoot it well from 3. If you can make the guards beat you, if you can hold up on the interior like Duke was able to for the most part, right? Nebraska had Michigan on the ropes. That was a great game because Nebraska was shooting well. I'm not trying to say they're inconsistent. I'm just trying to say they're mortal. And that's really the point of this entire segment is that, you think about how invincible Michigan looked with those big wins. Guess what? You can beat them. Arizona kept the ball rolling. They don't shoot it well. They kept finding ways to win and do it, in comfortable fashion. Well, guess what? They've now lost a couple times. Duke has lost a couple times. Iowa State had one of the more impressive wins of the year and, followed it up with a few stinkers in a row or in rapid succession. And then we get to Houston, a team that I still don't know how concerned about them I should be. They're coming off one of the hardest stretches that any team has played this season. On a week ago yesterday, they went to Hilton and lost by 3 to Iowa State on a near buzzer beater. They lost by 7 at home to Arizona, and then they went on the road and lost to Kansas just last night. 41 consecutive big Monday wins for Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse under Bill Self. It's pretty incredible, the way Kansas has been able to do that. Houston showed a few cracks as well. They lost that road game at Texas Tech. We're in a dogfight on the road at TCU. BYU was a back and forth kind of game. They won, not necessarily in dominating fashion, but ended up beating Utah and Kansas State as well. But Nick, I do think that there's a little bit to the Big 12 kind of figuring Houston out in terms of what they want to do defensively. Houston is so aggressive blitzing the pick and roll ball handler. If you can get it to the middle of the floor and play numbers, not panic, not rush, you have a numbers advantage, which is why Houston has gone with some lengthy athletic guys in the middle of the floor. But, teams have figured out how to beat it or do enough to hang in there. I think you can also do your best to funnel some offense through the front court and turn their guards into chuckers, right? Emmanuel Sharp is a bunch better off the ball as opposed to on it. Milos Uzan will take some tough one. Kingston Flemings has been really good for Houston. He was making 52% over his previous 6 games, and then in the last 5, he's only making 32%. Maybe that's a freshman hitting the freshman wall. Maybe it's the Big 10 having or Big 12 having a better idea of what to do with Houston. But Houston's also 0-5 against Iowa State, Arizona, Kansas, Texas Tech with a healthy Toppin in Tennessee, right? This is a team with Kelvin Sampson at the helm that just feels so due for that breakthrough. And this is a year that you could tell me Houston absolutely wins it all, but their 5 losses have come in the 5 biggest games on their schedule. And I don't know what to make of that yet.
The Kelvin Sampson led team, over the last couple of years since the decade turned to 2020, they usually enter the tournament with 30 plus wins and only 2 or 3 losses, and they're a grinded out defensive team as we've seen in the past. And seeing them lose 3 consecutive games is kind of out of the ordinary for them. And you think one would fall their way. Obviously the Iowa State one was down to the wire, but I want to hit the panic button on them just because of those are not bad losses to top teams in your conference,
but they're all losses.
They're all losses.
Yeah.
That's the thing. 0-5. You mentioned the Tennessee one too. That's another one. It's like, oh, okay, that is a SEC team, and
good program, not Houston's level.
Exactly, and Houston usually is able to handle the teams outside the top 20 and basically show why they are in that top 5 range the last couple of years. So, not really sure what to make about them. They're 3 losses, but not bad losses, but they are losses. So we'll monitor them the rest of the season. And then also the Big 12 tournament should be a blast because you have the teams always is. The teams are in it now. You have teams like BYU are shaking out, Houston, Iowa State, Kansas as mentioned. It should be a fun time. And and Arizona, obviously, I forgot to mention them too. So it's like, it's interesting to see who comes out of that one and carry some momentum into March.
We'll go through the back half of the current top 10 a little bit quicker here. UConn, one of their losses of their 3 on the season was early in the year when they were down a couple of key players. They lost at Gamble Pavilion to Arizona, part of Arizona's early season surge. In all UConn's losses, you can get their guards in foul trouble, right? UConn doesn't shoot that many free throws. They allow a bunch of free throws. And I think you can be physical with them, right? I don't think that this is the Donovan Clingan-led team. I think this is more, I don't want to say finesse, right? I'm not saying you can punk UConn, but I think you can be physical with them, and they just won't necessarily hold up like they would have a couple of years ago. The flip side of that, though, is Florida. I do not buy Florida's guards. I don't. They've really rounded into form recently. They're 21-6 overall. But if you can pack the paint against Florida, if you can make the Gators shoot, I think you have a good chance against them. Florida has shot less than 28% from 3 in all 6 of its losses, and only Arizona out-rebounded Florida in one of those 6 losses, which is kind of crazy because you'd think that, keep Florida off the glass. They're playing, a 6'9" guy at the 3, and then they go 6'10" and 6'10" or 6'11" or 7 foot with hand locked and whatever it is. You'd think, just, keep him off the glass, out-rebound him. That's tough to do. Florida's out-rebounded 5 of the 6 teams they've lost to. I don't trust Boogie Fland and Xavier Lee. I do not trust them shooting the ball. I just am not sure Florida's dynamic enough to make it, 6 consecutive games again in March.
Yeah, and they were a team that started off the year kind of outside that top 15 and then kind of turned it on recently. Now they're in the top 10 out of nowhere, sort of. And as you mentioned it, the UConn's a weird team too, because UConn of dominating clean. You mentioned those teams. Those teams wouldn't have lost to a St. John's at MSG. They wouldn't have lost to a
out tough, out physical.
Exactly. That's what that St. John's team. This is also a team that lost to Creighton out of nowhere. Creighton, Josh Dick scores 20 plus in that game. Kind of out of Creighton team who's hovering around 500, picks them off at their place.
Yeah.
You don't really see a UConn team doing that, but that, we're running out of time here, but those are the top, 7 teams, and we found some little flaw. The Purdue's next.
Yeah, we have Purdue, Gonzaga, and Illinois left, and I think those are all interesting kind of case studies. Purdue, you got to attack the paint, especially with Jacobson out of the game. Got to take care of the ball. To me, if you're going to slow Purdue down, you got to limit Fletcher Lawyer, and I think make them run a lot of stuff through Trey Kaufman, right? If he's going to beat you with little flip shots, so be it. But really the other part, and this might have been part of why Nebraska struggled against Purdue, is that lack of a consistently dynamic lead guard. Donovan Dent had a big game against them. Keaton Wagler had his biggest game. Lamar Wilkerson and then Elliot Cadeau played well in 4 of the 5 losses for the Boilermakers. So I think dynamic lead guards can give Purdue fits. Gonzaga, it's interesting because this is actually a better defensive team relative to the country than offensive. Gonzaga, per Ken Pomeroy, number 22 offense, number 12 defense, which is not what you expect from a Mark Few Gonzaga team. They've been all about putting the ball in the basket for a while. Of course, they've been dealing with some injuries. Gonzaga, not a great free throw shooting team. The other part of this that I think is interesting is you can win the math. Gonzaga will take some mid-rangers. They'll take some longer than average twos, and they also don't take many threes. So that's a team that I could see if they get matched up with a Miami of Ohio in the second round or whatever it is. I could see Gonzaga struggling there. And then Illinois might be the most fascinating case study to me here. The Illini at 22-6, that's their fair share of losses. But to me, there's really 2 ways to beat Illinois. You need to score.
Yes.
Or you need to work them over on the glass, which is obviously difficult. We saw that with Nebraska, Illinois' positional size, but Illinois has really only lost track meets this year. If you look at the games that the Fighting Illini have lost, they give up 90 in a loss to Alabama, but score 86. They give up 74 in a loss to UConn. They give up 83 to Nebraska, 85 to Michigan State, 92 to Wisconsin, and 95 to UCLA, right? I think Illinois is so incredibly deep. I think they're talented. Obviously, they have all sorts of really good positional size. But if you can keep them off the offensive glass and you're able to, match them score for score, like Nebraska was able to for really, I would say 60 of the 80 minutes that Nebraska played against Illinois. Obviously, Illinois is fallible. They've lost 6 times, which is as many, if not more, than most of, if not all, of the teams we've talked about to this point.
Yeah, and Illinois, 2 weeks ago, hey, they're knocking on the door of a 1 seed potentially.
Lost 3-5 now.
Michigan State lost. UCLA, what a really good finish there in overtime with the team.
Highest Edney 2.0.
All the way coast to coast and put it up and in and right before the buzzer sounded. Great atmosphere there in Los Angeles. But Illinois, they're a team where Keaton Wagler's going to do his thing. He's going to get his buckets. Like you said, get them off the glass, and they're a team that's going to have a lot of 3-point shooters too. You saw it against Nebraska; they had really good ball movement in the start of that game that was able to kind of open things up, and then they do have size inside too that will play a factor. And I think that's Nebraska caught them at the wrong time, because if you play that game, later in March, like right now, maybe a different outcome. Maybe,
but you caught them at the right time the first time, right? And you split with them. You're ranked very similarly. To me, no harm, no foul in that one.
It's there. There's a reason they're still in the top 10, even though they have 6 losses. Because you look at the other teams, UConn's got 3 losses, Houston's got 4, Iowa State's got 4, Michigan's got 2, Arizona State's got 2, Duke has 2. They have 6. They clearly have more losses, but they're a pretty good team, and they're still ranked in the top 10 for many reasons.
5284 wants to know, is Husker basketball ranked accordingly currently? Husker basketball out of the top 10 in the AP poll. They are inside the top 10 when you look at the coaches poll. We will talk Nebraska men's basketball. Heard from Fred Hoiberg and Cale Jacobson earlier today. Let's start previewing that Maryland matchup, an update on the health of the team, and more. That's all ahead on Old School.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100, or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
This is Jordy Ball for Anderson Ford. For years, Anderson has relied on an exceptional customer experience. But just this once, they're going to rely on a really great pitch.
Right now, lease a 2025 Ford F-150 for $199 per month.
Experience better at Anderson Ford.
Stock number 1007055. Previous service loaner. $199 per month. Lease for 36 months with approved credit. 7,500 miles per year. 6,800 due at signing. No security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Plus take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 3/31/26. See dealer for details.
MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sartor Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sartorheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Looking to get a room downtown or near South Lincoln? Abe Lincoln would tell you no to the Ford Theater and yes to Lincoln Hotel. Save up to 40% off downtown Lincoln prices with a nice clean room and comfortable stay. Lincoln Hotel is locally owned and offers a day pass to the city's largest locally owned gym, Good Life Fitness. Long-term stays are available. You can learn more about pricing and book your Lincoln Hotel stay today at staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565. That's staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, 2-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
Are you tired of living in pain? At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, they make it simple. From head to toe, spine to extremities, they've got you covered. Their multi-specialty team of experts in orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery, podiatry, physical therapy, and occupational therapy all work under one roof to get you back to living life pain-free. Don't wait another day. Visit prairie-ortho.com today or call them at 402-489-4700. Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins. Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, welcome back in. It is Old School. Austin Orman and Nick Wyman with you for another 25 minutes or so outside the box with the Lincoln Stars coming up after this. Big thanks to the good folks over at Heartland of Nebraska Windows for helping sponsor hour one of the show. They're based out of Hallam, Nebraska. They offer a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl, triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty on everything while keeping their prices affordable. Heartland of Nebraska Windows, locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today for more info. You can do that 402-430-3852, or you can visit them online, heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Speaking of visiting, Fred Hoiberg visited with the media earlier today. I was in attendance. Some interesting stuff from Fred Hoiberg, including some updates on the health of the team. Let's go ahead and start there. Berke Buyukdengel missed Nebraska's most recent game. Marcus Lawrence with the ankle injury. Let's go ahead and hear from Nebraska men's basketball head coach Fred Hoiberg. How healthy is the team right now?
Yeah, Jamarcus was feeling quite a bit better last night and woke up this morning and wasn't feeling 100%, so we decided to keep him away. Kendall is now not feeling very good, so he was not at practice this morning. As far as everybody else, they were full participants in practice today. Berke he was full go.
There you have it. Berke Buyukdengel full go for Nebraska at practice. Jamarcus Lawrence less limited by the ankle, more limited by the flu. Another bug going around the team, a second wave of it hitting them. So disaster averted with the ankle, but dealing with some sickness. The Fred Hoiberg said very interestingly for both Rinkmast and Berke Buyukdengel and now for Jamarcus Lawrence, one of those illnesses that seems to get better throughout the day and then pop back up in the morning. Maybe that's, circumstantial. Maybe, it's just coincidental. I don't know what it is. But, interesting for Nebraska, who will be monitoring Jamarcus Lawrence. Going to hope to bring him in for a workout of some sort later this afternoon, maybe right now, and monitor his availability for tomorrow. Let's talk about that, though, Nick. Managing practice with limited availability, right? Nebraska's dealt with this already when Rinkmast went out with his sickness, and then Braden Frager was on the shelf with his ankle injury. Here's Fred Hoiberg about managing practice with limited bodies available.
We didn't do a whole lot of live reps today just because we were so shorthanded out there. And, we felt we got done what we needed to do as far as the game plan. We had a good, sharp physical practice yesterday. And then normally we do back off a little bit day before the game, but we even did less than what we normally do just because of how shorthanded we were, and, saving guys that are playing a lot of minutes at this time, just with the guards that are out right now. I mean, we're still getting Kendall a lot of reps, and he's got to be ready for situations like this. Unfortunately, he's one that fell, and hopefully it stays away from the rest of the team here over these next 24 hours. But yeah, it does affect your preparation. There's no doubt about it. But we'll get Jamarcus all the film that we watched, and hopefully be able to get him in at least to shoot some free throws and feel the ball a little bit later on today. He did feel better as the day went on, but the way this thing has worked with Rank with Berke is it's really bad in the mornings. So, hopefully this runs its course over the rest of the day. Kendall will probably be very careful with tomorrow just because, it seems to be 48 hours, but, hopefully we can get Jamarcus some reps later this afternoon.
Nebraska hopeful to have Jamarcus Lawrence back. The first piece of that, though, Nick, really stood out to me. Fred Hoiberg is saying we really backed off. We normally do so right now with especially the guards that are sick in Lawrence and Blue. That seems like the right thing to do. It may be for a game having a physical practice on Monday and then backing off today. The only concern I would have about that is that we know Nebraska said something very similar with Mast and Frager out. They had to back off how physical they were being in practice. They had to not go quite as long, not go quite as hard. Again, that's fine. That makes complete, perfect, logical sense to me. But when Mast was out and when Frager was out, when Nebraska said they had to back off in practice, that's when the rebounding issues really started popping up. And against a Maryland team that plays, in some ways very similar to the Buzz Williams team that Nebraska faced in the NCAA tournament. Funny enough, it's the same head coach bringing Maryland to town tomorrow. That does worry me a little bit, that even if I completely understand why Nebraska would back it off in practice. And again, I think it's smart. I think it's logical, and I think it's the right thing to do. It just still worries me that this is a Nebraska team that might need some more physical practices just to continue to instill in them, hey, we have to go get every rebound, challenge every time a shot goes up, get a body on someone, because this Maryland team, doesn't shoot it very well. They turn it over quite a bit. The one thing they can hang their hat on is being a good offensive rebounding team. And again, you trust Nebraska's vets to be able to handle it. But when Nebraska had to back off in practice earlier in the year, it's when these rebounding issues started. And tomorrow, it seems like rebounding could be the only thing keeping Maryland in that game.
Yeah, this Maryland team, Buzz Williams, it's ironic that last time Nebraska was in the big dance, he was the coach at A&M. Yeah. And you see some similarities, like you mentioned, with that A&M team and what he's trying to put together at Maryland. However, Maryland's just not as put together as the A&M team was, that Aggies team that Nebraska buzzsaw they kind of ran to in March Madness a couple years ago. But yeah, Maryland's been a team to give some teams some fits. Iowa being one of them a couple weeks ago, 77-70 in that one in Maryland. They are also drop games. Like they played Rutgers, dropped that game right after that. And then they had a tight one with Northwestern. So they're going to play tough. They're going to be a tough rebound. So like rebounding is going to be a big concern because like you mentioned, like if they're going to be in the paint, physical, and drive to the basket and try to get something to fall, and they're getting to the line and whatnot, and making your free throws. But then again, we've seen this Maryland team play ranked teams like Purdue and Michigan and not even been close. So it's you got to flip the coin which Maryland team you're going to get. And with the sickness, I mean, it's not like football where you got 100 guys at your disposal or whatnot. And your basketball team with 15 guys on roster and whatnot. There's only so much you can do. You got to think like you have to have 5 guys on the court. You have scout team. This is why scout team's so important. The guys we don't see out there on the court, they're playing a pivotal role behind the scenes and whatnot. Yeah. And then you have the student managers as well stepping in there or whatnot. And you have a full body worth of guys that can step in, but it's hard to simulate it when you're down to scout team and other bodies stepping in when it's 5-on-5.
Let's go ahead and hear from Fred Hoiberg. What are the similarities between Maryland and Texas A&M, both being led by Buzz Williams as the head coach? Here's Fred Hoiberg.
I think there are a lot of similarities. They're playing the same way. They run a lot of the same defenses. They really attack the glass. They can really drive the ball and get into the paint. So there's definitely similarities. And then again, you look at what Mills has done in his emergence and what he has been able to do against some really good teams and some really good defenses. He really attacks downhill, and then if you play off him, he's certainly capable of knocking down threes. And again, they've got a lot of talent on this roster, and it's all coming together, and they're playing their best stretch of basketball.
Similar things Nebraska said about Texas A&M down the stretch heading to the NCAA tournament in Memphis. Still a fascinating Maryland team when you look at some of the pieces on there. Pharrell Payne gave Nebraska some fits while he was at Minnesota on the offensive glass. He's suffered an injury and has not played recently for them. You look at Miles Rice, an intra-conference transfer, Washington State to Indiana, then Indiana out to Maryland. One of the carryovers from that Buzz Williams teams at A&M is Solomon Washington. He's a senior now. He's been very active at drawing fouls and getting after it on the glass. So Nebraska's seen him a little bit. The most recent, lineups for Maryland, then Diggy Coit, Kansas transfer at point guard. Andre Mills is a guy that Fred Hoiberg brought up by name a couple different times about a guy that can really get going from 3. Solomon Washington at the 3, Elijah Saunders, an older guy at the 4, and then Colin Metcalf and Saunders rotating at the center position. Just like the Buzz Williams teams we got to talking about before, not overwhelming necessarily in terms of height, but they play bigger than they are. They are not afraid to hit you. In fact, on this roster is only one guy listed at 6'10" or taller. He's a freshman out of Chicago. So just like that A&M team, they're big enough to make it hurt. They're athletic enough to go get it off the glass. They have that physical mindset ingrained in them. The flip side, though, there's not a Wade Taylor on this roster. I'm not a big Diggy Coit believer. Good player, not necessarily my cup of tea. Andre Mills, as a sophomore, has gotten going recently, especially. Darius Adams, certainly a really talented freshman, top 30 recruit in the country. So I think Nebraska has the personnel, even if with Jamarcus Lawrence out, to make it work, especially offensively against Maryland. But then defensively is where the question will come in for me. Can Nebraska shoot well enough from three to mitigate the possession advantage I think Maryland could have? That to me seems like the game, Nick.
And Andre Mills, I think, for Coach Head Hoiberg hit that on the nail. 39 and 21 in the last 2 games. He's third on the team in scoring, only averaging just about 11 points per game. And you have a guy doing that in the last 2 games, playing his best basketball. Because before that, his career high before that was 24, which was only 4 games ago. And before that, he was only averaging 11, 8, 4. This guy is starting to blossom and be another contributor to their scoring. And that just adds another layer for Nebraska to defend. And if he's missing shots, got to get the rebounds. So it's going to be, both those 2 things tie hand in hand.
The games that Maryland has played against ranked competition have not gone their way this year. Early in the year, Maryland gave up 100 to Gonzaga, 105 to Alabama, both at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. You look at them giving up 83 points on the road at Iowa, give up 101 to Michigan, 80 to Virginia. Illinois beat them 89-70. Michigan State stomped them, put up 91, beat them 91-48 in East Lansing. Purdue ran up 93 on the Terps in that one as well. Against the better offenses on their schedule, Nick, this Maryland defense has really struggled. There's some young talent there. I think Maryland, could be something in a year or two. But right now, this seems like another game that if Nebraska handles business on the glass, if they're able to focus on it like they, can, even with limited availability, seems like a game, Maryland has struggled in, and Nebraska should have an opportunity to win it.
They're also a team that's kind of in that Penn State territory. They're in the bottom 4 of the conference, and they're in must-win now mode because they not only do they have this game against Nebraska, they close out the regular season with Rutgers, Wisconsin, Illinois. They're gonna need Rutgers. That's kind of, they've played them already once before, and then Wisconsin, who's playing some of their best basketball this year, obviously back out of the top 25, but still not a tricky team. And then Illinois to close out home. You got to win those games if you want to be a part of the Big Ten tournament and be able to play in that and have Buzz Williams' first year to be able to get them to that mark, because those are some tough games down the stretch for the Terrapins.
One more segment to go here on Old School Hour, one of which is brought to you by the good folks at Heartland of Nebraska Windows. He's Nick Wyman. I'm Austin Norman. We'll be back to wrap up this hour next.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Just got new tires put on my car today.
You did? I didn't see you leave the office.
I didn't need to. Graham Tire picked up my car this morning and dropped it back off and they were done.
You're kidding. How'd you get that kind of service?
That's just what they do at Graham Tire.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
Are you looking for something different for lunch or dinner in Lincoln? Big 8 is now open at 1226 P Street, serving seafood boils and Asian cuisine. Get your hands messy with fresh, flavorful seafood boils, hot, cold, and made to share. Or enjoy classic Chinese and Asian dishes, perfect for lunch, dinner, or a night out with friends and family. Big flavors, generous portions, and a brand new dining experience. Big 8, now open in Lincoln.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com. All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Hi, Charlie Stone here, and joining me is Andy Goodyear with Honda of Lincoln. Before I bring Andy on, we want to wish you joy, success, and good health in 2026. Andy, are you there?
Yes, I am, Charlie. And by the way, that was well said.
Andy, I know you want to kick off 2026 with a bang. What's going on at the dealership?
We got a lot going on here, Charlie. We have incredible savings on every new remaining 2025, New Year's savings on every new 2026, special low long-term financing, and special lease rates. The biggest news is we have more than 400 new 2025 and 2026 Hondas to choose from.
How about pre-owned?
We have over 125 pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas right now, with prices starting at under $10,000, and we have special low rates.
Well, maybe it's time you experience the best. The Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and right now at Koppel, we are offering big discounts on all of our inventory. 2026 GMC Terrains are leasing at $279 per month or buy for $27,690. 2026 Canyon is leasing for $269 or buy for $40,980. Also right now, all new Equinox EVs and all half-ton trucks are starting at $12,000 off MSRP. These are just a few examples of some of the aggressive pricing going on right now at Koppel. Please stop on in or check us out at koppelcars.com. All leases with $2,500 down with a roof credit.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in to Old School one final time for this hour. Big thanks to Heartland of Nebraska Windows for sponsoring the first hour. Graham Tire Company of Lincoln for sponsoring the show. 402-464-5685 if you want to get a hold of the show. Big news out of Arizona. Jack Caglione has gone deep. Ryan Howard MVP season confirmed. Loading.
460. It sounds like 115 off the bat. I mean, hey, the Royals, spring training's in high gear, and next week we have the World Baseball Classic starting. So exciting times in sports, especially baseball starting, because I like that when the opening days come, the weather is going to get better because and 1 week as well for baseball. Nebraska baseball is at home. I mean, if you look outside right now, there's still snow on the ground. It looks a little you can't see the sun, but in 1 week, starting at 1:30 first pitch next week against Omaha, which will be an interesting one because Omaha's gotten the best of Nebraska from time to time, and that
the last few years especially.
And then it's an interesting, I wouldn't say a rivalry, but Omaha's got guys there's a lot of local guys on the team, a lot of smaller guys who maybe got passed over, and they have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder against a team like Nebraska. And Nebraska's slipped up in some of those midweek games, and those are the games you're supposed to handle business. And Omaha comes down, they have Tal Anderson, but they make the quick trip down to Haymarket Park, maybe have a little bit of an audience there. You never know. Exactly. And then South Dakota State, they've been a team to beat Nebraska in time. So it should be an exciting time. Baseball starting up, spring training, World Baseball Classic, Nebraska softball will be back here next week. Hopefully the weather's better. I'm not trying to jinx it here. We always know those first weeks of March are a little iffy, but baseball's back.
Royals lead the Reds 4-3, middle of the seventh inning, down at Cincinnati's home park in Arizona. Nick, I do want to ask you, automated balls and strikes coming to spring training.
Yes.
I think we've seen, both sides of it. Number one, how good the umps are. And then we get this Red Sox Pirates game where our home plate umpire had 3 calls overturned in the first 6 outs of the game. Man.
A little over redundant where it's baseball. Umpires, I think, have to have a say because it's just how baseball is. It's been that way. I get it. Nobody's perfect. You put me back there, I'd probably be terrible. It's a tough job. You're sitting there watching guys throw 95 plus
with movement.
And you're sitting there, crouched over a little bit behind a catcher. You have a split second to make that decision. It's tough. You should be allowed only so many challenges. Whenever ABS, I like it.
You can run out. If you get 2 wrong, you're done.
Yes, but 6 in, what was it, inning you said? 6 in
it was 6 in the first, or 3 overturned in the first 6 batters.
That's a little crazy. That's a little
but they were all relatively obvious if you look at the ABS tracking. And, they were in the corners, but they were, I think the entire baseball was inside the boundaries of the zone.
I just don't want to get to a situation. I mean, I would like to save my challenges till the end. Why use them in the
Well, because I guess it was that obvious, because if you miss 2, you're done because you get more than 2. Still, it's not like basketball where Nebraska has to overturn these out of bounds calls with the refs right in front of them, and then they're out of a challenge, in crunch time.
There has to be some. I would. Let's say you go to the end of the game, you use your challenges early, then you get to the 9th inning, and there's an obvious one you miss. Oh, you're out of challenges or whatnot. I would save them, but there's going to be some strategy to it, which that's baseball strategy.
Yeah,
it's a thing.
It's about time we get some more of that strategy introduced to the game, especially now that the double switch has been pulled out with the DH rule, which again I think I'm probably actually okay with
as well.
Shifts, yeah, that one I'm take relief. I always loved. So I swing lefty. I swung lefty back in my prime.
Yeah.
Teams would always shift me over to right, which was perfect because I like to go oppo. So worked out really well. That'll do it for us here on this first hour of Old School. Nick, appreciate you sitting in.
Yep, no problem.
We'll be back with more coming up sooner than later. But for now, it is Outside the Box. Lincoln Stars head coach Rocky Russo in the building. Tell you about the Stars weekend. Celebrate some USA hockey and plenty more. That's all ahead. Don't go anywhere on the ticket.